Hi, this is Shambhavi. Welcome to my weekly podcast about spirituality, love, death, devotion, and waking up while living in a messy world. The Satsang with Shambhavi podcast is recorded live each week with students of our nonprofit community, Jaya Kula. For more information and to find out about attending a satsang, visit jayakula.org. Thanks for listening. Much love to you, wherever and however you are. There's a beautiful text called the Tripura Rahasya. It's a tantric text from South India, where the nature of this reality is called the open secret, meaning anyone could discover it, but somehow it's still hidden from us, from many of us. So we are learning to relax and be more in touch with who we really are, what's actually of value, what's really going on here. That's the nature of satsang. Satsang is historically and now today still in dialogic form because we are living in dualistic experience. And so all of our experience in our everyday life is all dialogue. It's all call and response. And we are learning how to participate in that more fully, more freely by participating in satsang. And we're going to start satsang with someone raising a topic sent to me in an email today. The question is about feeling emotions very intensely and feeling empathy intensely, and then how to handle that, but also being criticized for that at times. Whenever someone says to a woman, "You're too something," we have to have a question mark immediately arise in our minds. You're too intellectual. You're too emotional. My God, could there be anything more cliched? You're too confident. I've gotten that. You're too confident. Can you believe that? So whenever we hear that, especially said to a young woman, we're going to have a question mark about where that's coming from. Saying that women are straying from their assigned role in some way or another is one of the major tools of patriarchy and misogyny. So if that's news to you, you're in the right place, because you'll hear a lot more about it. But this is one of the ways that women get controlled, by saying that whatever we're experiencing, our experience isn't valid. It's outside of the bounds of what's acceptable. It's too much. So many, many women are told, you're too intense, you're too emotional, you're too wild, you're too intellectual, you're too sharp, you're too whatever. You read too many books, you don't read enough books. You eat too much food, you're not eating enough food. You're not eating the right food. You're too fat, you're too thin. You're not enough this, you're too much that. So these are all ways in which we are controlled, or there's attempts to control us. So that's just a question mark. When someone says to you, you're too emotional, you're too intense, you're going to immediately consider the source. What are they trying to do? The second thing is that there's a whole discourse on empathy right now that has reared its extremely ugly head, according to me. You know how there's this thing now, it's called a humble brag. I'm sure you've all heard of that. You don't know what wait, did you just arrive? You are blessed with ignorance of these horrible things. So a humble brag is when someone says something like this. I'm so humbled that all of you love me so much. I'm so humbled to have received this award. I'm so humbled because 10,000 of you liked my Facebook page. I'm so humbled. So this is what's called a humble brag, right? Humility used to be something else, right? So unfortunately, the same thing is happening to empathy. It's not exactly the same structure, but the meaning of empathy is being grossly skewed to kind of mean its opposite, the way that humility has been skewed to be its opposite. So now humility is like drawing attention to our achievements, and empathy is drawing attention to how we feel attacked and hurt by other people's feelings. Empathy is when we feel for other people. and we want to help in some way. Now, the new version of empathy is other people are attacking me with their feelings, and I have to hide and take care of myself, and I'm overwhelmed by all of you. When people now say they're empathic or they're empathetic, they're meaning they feel vulnerable and overwhelmed by other people. Some people mean this. This is a relatively new thing. Instead of, I have a high degree of sensitivity to how other people are feeling, and I would like to be able to use that in some positive, productive way. I've always had a very high degree of what we call empathy, or just feeling how other people are feeling, or noticing how other people are feeling. At times it's been troublesome, not because I got criticized for it. I got criticized for other things, not for that, but because I was seeing things that other people didn't see. So I would say, oh, so-and-so is so depressed. And then the other person would say, what? They're not depressed. I was like, okay, this is like something that's coming at me so powerful, it can't be denied, but yet the person standing next to me doesn't notice it. So that's been upsetting to me at times when I was younger. But aside from that, I always considered it to be a great skill, that I could feel how other people are feeling, or notice more about how other people are feeling, and feel along with other people, because then I can be more helpful. If I notice someone is really agitated, I can make them a cup of tea and be a more serene presence and help them to calm down. If someone's really depressed and sad and grieving, I can give them a hug. If I weren't noticing any of that, I couldn't do any of that. One of the ways we can reorient is toward, okay, this is a skill. This is a enhanced perception. And how can I use this to be of benefit to other people? Feeling a lot is not a problem, really. You might have to get used to it. I also had problems when I was younger with just perceiving a lot. It wasn't so much the feeling part of it. I didn't feel overwhelmed by other people's feelings. I just noticed them and felt them. But I did feel overwhelmed by other perceptions. So visual perceptions and sense and sounds were at times so intense that I did feel overwhelmed and it was uncomfortable. But I also still recognized that it's a good thing to be perceiving more. I didn't like feeling overwhelmed by it, but I also didn't want to reject it or pathologize it, because I felt like if I'm seeing things more clearly and hearing things more and smelling things more, everybody knows I have this like ridiculous sense of smell. That's a good thing. It's a way to navigate the world. But it took me a good 40 years, and 15 of that doing spiritual practice, to acclimatize to my own perceptions and be able to feel relaxed with them. So I would say that if anybody has intense perceptions or intense feelings of empathy, intense recognitions of how other people are, and you're feeling overwhelmed by it, then find a way to train yourself to not feel overwhelmed by it, because you have skills and you could use those skills to navigate and help other people. When you become more capable of hosting more kinds of feelings, not just nice feelings or comfortable feelings, it becomes like a banquet. Even the sorrows, even the grieving, everything becomes just incredibly multi-layered and textured and rich. Even the painful things. The idea of self-realization is that we're more open, more receptive. We're perceiving more, not less. So our whole journey is opening the gates of our perceptions. Everyone gets overwhelmed. At different points in the journey, everybody gets overwhelmed, no matter where you start out. Things are so much more alive than we're generally experiencing. So just experiencing the aliveness of everything can be very, very intense. And eventually, though, the idea is that we acclimatize to it. Many very wonderful teachers have described the path of waking up as a path of acclimatization, of growing accustomed to being in a world that's more alive than we thought it was.
I've just been recently reflecting on like how I wish to have a better sense of humor or just like wanting to call in humor in a bigger way in my life. People around me were just so fucking funny, and I love that, and I would like that more in my life to be cultivated.
Well, the more you practice, the funnier you get. Someone was just remarking on that earlier today. We have this really unwieldy reservoir. We call it the mountain. This unwieldy amount of old satsang recordings that have just been sitting on Google Drive like since 2012. And today we had a little meeting and we kind of looked at all the files on there and talked about what to do with them. One of the people at the meeting said, "Oh, I went back and I listened to some of the satsangs from really early on and said, you didn't laugh as much. You were much more serious." So I'm living proof that you laugh more and you're funnier if you do more practice. We were talking about, well, should we really use those other satsangs? So we're going to experiment.
I would love for you to talk about ways of cultivating deeper intimacy with people, with ex-partners that you want to be friends with, or just friendships in general.
Don't mask. Don't mask. I don't mean don't wear a COVID mask. I mean, be there as yourself. Then more intimacy will naturally arise. You can start small. I don't really have a way to advise people how to be different than they are now in any thorough way, other than to tell you, do spiritual practice, do the practice that we teach here. That's what I do, and that's the path that I followed. I'm not saying it's the only solution, but this isn't like a heady kind of a situation where you're being given steps to take to grow into some other condition. The way that we grow here is by doing practice. Whatever advice I would give you is very limited unless you feel you want to start doing some practice. You're very, very new. So I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying you can't go to a veterinarian and say, my dog has a tumor. Could you tell me the steps I could take to get rid of the tumor? Like the veterinarian's like a surgeon. That's what they do. They do surgery to get out tumors. They don't tell people how to take steps to get rid of tumors. It's the same kind of a thing. I'm going to tell you something, but it's going to be very, very limited. It's not the whole solution. And I'm never going to be able to give you the whole solution in this kind of dialogue. It's going to happen, at least from what I do, from guiding you and doing spiritual practice. Then all of this contrivance falls away, like any way that you're masking or contriving a self is going to fall away naturally over time. And the intimacy that you're seeking already exists. You don't have to manufacture it or cultivate it. What you need to do is get rid of the stuff that's in the way, because the whole of reality is in a state of total intimacy. It's already there in full measure. So if you notice, and I'm sure you do, anything that you habitually do that feels contrived or not like who you really are, but it could be just like a way of talking or a way of moving or kinds of narratives you offer people in your conversation. But if you notice anything that feels contrived and feels like sick effort to produce, those are masks. That's what's called masking. Just pick one little thing that you do. Maybe it's like you laugh when you don't think things are actually funny or you don't really feel like laughing. Just stop it. Pick one thing to drop that you notice that feels contrived and unnatural to you. And just don't do it. Don't put anything else in its place. If it's contrived laughter, don't think, how can I laugh more naturally? You can't. You can't manufacture a natural laugh. You just stop doing whatever it is that feels contrived and don't put anything else in its place. But just pick one thing, one little thing, and start from there. See how it feels. And when you stop masking, intimacy will be the result.
Could you speak more to the acclimatization? I was interested in expanding capacity for discomfort and being able to sit with it and not run away from it or guard myself against experiences that might bring it. Is there like a place that you've landed where it's less bad feeling?
Yeah. That doesn't mean I don't ever feel uncomfortable. There's a lot of stuff happening that's pretty darn uncomfortable. It's just that it also has other dimensions, like textures and movements and flavors and sensory experiences. For instance, we understand that emotions have sensory qualities and textures. We'll say something like, I'm feeling really rough today, or I'm experiencing hot anger, or something like that. So we already know that on some level that all of these emotions we experience have aesthetic qualities or sensory qualities, perceptual qualities. Part of the practice that we do is to learn how to focus in a more nuanced way on those qualities. They're called gunas in Sanskrit, of our everyday experience. So rather than focusing so much on the content, we're focusing on the qualities. And this is something that I teach people how to do. And that's a way to begin to increase your capacity. Satsang with Shambhavi is produced by Jaya Kula, a nonprofit community offering opportunities to learn and practice in the direct realization traditions of Trika Shaivism and Dzogchen. If you enjoyed listening, please help us keep this podcast and many other teachings open to all by making a monthly or one-time donation. Visit jayakula.org to make a donation and explore more of our offerings.